What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. Text us, 865-658-5824. Join alongside Emilio, a.k.a. Pom Pom. We've got Jacob in Wisconsin. Gentlemen, everybody doing all right this evening?
Yeesh.
Yes, Blake B already said Hawk 2 up in here. All right, I see you. Let me hit you with it here.
There you go.
All right. So we're going to try to get through this show and get a ton of information to all you guys and gals. Obviously, had another training camp practice today. Had some contract information drop, which is another piece to the puzzle for the Jordan Love contract extension. We'll talk about that as well. Going to try to get out of here at about the 50-minute to the hour mark. Got some stuff to take care of. So we're going to go rapid fire. Emilio knows Mandy's got me a honey-do list, so that's what's going on this evening. So, first things first, Jacob, anything you want to hit on off the bat before we get into all this contract talk? Just want to see if there's anything that's on the forefront of your mind, big dog.
Honestly, no. I mean, I've already said my piece. It sounded like the offensive line looked a little bit better today, a little more promising, so that makes me encouraged. So hopefully we can maybe touch on that a little bit later.
Got it. Good stuff. Amelia, I know you've been doing some reading, or at least listening to some reading, right? Yeah. You dove into Gridiron Genius by Michael Lombardi. Is that right, man?
I have. That's it's been the new go-to now on the mower as of the past couple of days. So, but there's just so much information packed into one there.
Yeah.
Problem's getting it down in text so that I can remember it.
I think I've listened to Gridiron Genius 3 times now, maybe 4. And every time I listen to it, I come away with something else. Like there's something else I missed. It's that deep. There's so much information, but yes, it's just an excellent book. So if you've already read Take Your Eye Off the Ball 2.0 by Pat Kerwin or listen to it, make sure you go grab Gridiron Genius by Michael.
And what I like doing now is, now that I'm past the point of just kind of, getting through the basics of it, like I'm looking at it as, all right, what's Matt LaFleur in this scenario? As looking at it, the best head coach. What's Jay Love now? Looking at the quarterback section, which is what I sent you a bunch of notes on today, and then the defense is just coming up now. So I'm just trying to chip away at it and see, all right, the pieces that we set in place. Goody being Bill Walsh. Where is he got this team set? Mark Murphy letting it go, and then where's Matt LaFleur taking the team and the talent in comparison to his coaches, Bill Belichick, all that stuff, just to kind of see and sort of bubble out where they're at.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. It's an excellent book, man. And when you find out, like Michael Lombardi fell in love with the game of football from a very, very, very early age. He talked about living in New York and riding his bicycle down to, at the time, it was the NFL draft was held in this just crappy hotel. And he said they were in their smoke-filled room, right? Everybody smoking cigarettes, and that's how the NFL draft was conducted. Now it's this big, spectacle. But he's, that's when he fell in love with the game. Multiple opportunities to work under people like Bill Walsh, Al Davis, Bill Belichick, on and on, and just an amazing football life, really. The problem with Michael Lombardi is he's so damn brash. Most people don't want to hear his story, right? Yeah. Because he is just very straight to the point.
But I mean, you're right. He, even after he was like a GM of I think the Browns or whatever it was, he fell all the way back to having to watch NFL films in the summer again, driving 100 miles a day just to go watch the reels. It's crazy, just like the things that you do for love of the game, which is why we're here.
It's hilarious. Daily. It's hilarious too, because everybody goes through that cycle that loses their job. Like Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, arguably the best defense in the league last year. That defense is the reason they won the Super Bowl. I know everybody's in love with Pat Mahomes and Travis Swift or Kelsey, and everybody loves that whole dynamic, right? But I'm telling you, that defense, Chris Jones, McDuffie on the outside, L'Jarius Sneed, and the way he played press, some of the stuff they did really, really aggressive with the blitz, that was all Steve Spagnuolo. And if you listen to anything Steve Spagnuolo's talked about, when he lost his job, I think he was he the head coach with the Giants, or maybe the DC, whatever his position was, maybe getting the timeline mixed up. He got fired. He went to NFL Films, and Greg Cosell does an excellent job of talking about the time he spent watching tape with him. So what Emilio's referring to there is, he talked about, Michael Lombardi talked about when he lost his job as the general manager of the Cleveland Browns. He spent a whole summer back at NFL Films in the archives because everybody tries to stay up on what's going on in the game. So essentially, it's cool, man. You can tell when people.
And I don't read it. I'm not reading it. It's a 100% an audio book. You know.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like a kid that missed the test and didn't study for it. Because y'all are just chatting away over here, and I'm like, was I supposed to do some required reading? Yeah. What the heck's going on? Can you send me a link, dude? Because I'm the same way. I like to listen to the audiobooks, but I'm such a. Have you ever like that Nate Bargatze guy? He talks about how I don't know how to look things up the right way because every time I try to research something or find like a link, I have my 85-year-old grandfather's technological capabilities. So if you don't send me
a rabbit hole quick,
yeah, dude, you should see me got mad at my Xbox this morning. I was just wanted to play a baseball game on the show, and all these things started coming up, and I'm like, just let me play it. I want to do the baseball. I was like,
when he said I got mad at my ex, I thought he was going to say my ex this morning. I was like, whoa, Jacob, this isn't the show, man. Let's don't
had two. Had two.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that, Jacob. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let's get in.
Too much Taylor Swift.
We're not going to get into Taylor Swift. Let's get into the contract talk. All right. So obviously the big news today was Tua Tagovailoa's contract hit. Adam Schefter tweeted out earlier today. Tua Tagovailoa is signing a 4-year, $212.4 million extension per Athletes First. So obviously Athletes First is the agency. Now he quote tweeted that and put Tua Tagovailoa's new deal includes $167 million guaranteed. If anybody follows me on Twitter, you may or may not have seen my tweet earlier today where I have a source. Now listen, this dude can be completely BSing me. I worked around today and got a hold of someone who is close to the Jordan Love contract. Okay. Now, again, there's a lot of misinformation that comes out. I want to put this disclaimer out there. He could have fed me full of crap. And I'm not going to say which side it was on. All right. But it is what it is. This is the tweet I put out. And I want to talk about how this kind of ties into everything because this contract came in way later in the day. And to me, it seems like the stars are kind of aligning right now. At least with what I heard, it seems like it's fairly accurate. So here's a tweet I put. I said, this is going to be a great, quote, source test for me. I'm hearing two things about Jordan's deal. And this is what the person told me. I'll tell you two things. He said, it's already done because I asked him about a timeline. I said, what kind of timeline are we talking about? And he said, it's already done is what he said. Could be full of crap, but that's what he told me. This is, I said, so this was the two things he gave me with that contract information. He said, it's a 4-year deal. And actual guaranteed money is a new all-time high. That's all he said. And again, take it, with a grain of salt, take it as you want to. All right. I'm not completely sold that it's accurate, but that's what the person told me. Now, with that being said, back to the Tua contract. The reason that's interesting is because when I tweeted that out earlier today, Tua's contract came down the pike later on. Well, guess what? They've got the same agency that's working their deals. Tua Tagovailoa and Jordan Love have the same agency. Now, they have different agents. To the best of my knowledge, Mulugeta is working, obviously, Jordan's contract, and I'm not sure which agent is actually working for Tua. It may be Mulugeta, but I don't think it is. So that coming down the pike, it makes sense. Now, Pretty Ricky, who was it that texted me just a second ago? Let me pull it up. I apologize. Robert, PTA listener, screenshotted a Pretty Ricky tweet just a few minutes ago and sent it to me. It says, Pretty Ricky tweeted this out with a quote tweet of NFL on ESPN. Adam Schefter believes that Jordan Love will soon be the richest player, blah, 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 blah. Pretty Ricky had tweeted out, Packer fans relax if they're wanting to announce it. If they're waiting to announce it, it's because they want Tua to have his moment. There's a new highest paid quarterback. Ricky guarantees it and putting my reputation on the line. I'm a shareholder too. That's the guy who said he's the people's insider. You remember, and he's kind of been on the forefront of a lot of this information. So that could be the reason. Now think about this. That tweet, and I'm not even sure when Pretty Ricky tweeted that, but it was just sent over to me a few minutes ago. That tweet alongside what this person told me that it's already a done deal. It's done, right? So it's like, why are you waiting? Tua's contract hits. Same agency. Where's the majority of the information is coming out of? The agencies, right? So the people that are freaking out that it's not going to get done, I'm like 99.9% sure this thing is pretty much done, is the way I feel, just based reading the tea leaves. Now, with all that being said, I want you to key in on what it says with the $167 million guaranteed. This is where things get really tricky, okay? So when you say 167 million guaranteed, what does that sound like to you guys? That's guaranteed, right? That money is guaranteed. Well, here's the problem with that. I'm going to share this real quick, an article that I pulled. Drop this down. This is from a couple of years ago. There's things called practical guarantees now. Think about that. It's either guaranteed or it isn't, right? This is a practical guarantee. I'm going to try to read this and not bore you to death. It says, those down the road provisions in contracts when full guarantees for, say, 2023 lock in at the start of the 2022 league year have created a new term, practical guarantees. They essentially suggest that a free agent signing today likely won't be cut after one season. So that kick-in clause is practically a guarantee today. In most cases, practical guarantees are legit. As the ink is drying on the signature of a new multi-year deal, no one expects that player to stay with the team for just one season. But in some instances, it does happen. Kyle Van Noy signed a 4-year, $51 million deal with the Dolphins a year ago. Van Noy's 2021 salary of $12.5 million would have been fully guaranteed if he was on Miami's roster at the start of the league year. But they cut him. He's back now on the Patriots. So that's one example of like a practical guarantee. Yeah, it's guaranteed if you're on the roster. Well, guess what? It's not guaranteed then, right? So when you go back to the way Tua's contract is reported here, Emilio said, I've had enough of it already. He's out of here. Yeah. So when you look at how it was reported, 167 million guaranteed, I think that's the total guarantee. Understand this information, again, Adam Schefter tagged him. Athletes First is the one that gave, he's the source. That's the source, the agency. They're going to try to make the numbers look overly inflated. They're going to make it look as good as possible. So total guarantee. Now, when we talk total guarantee, if we look across the rest of the league here with total guarantees, here's the top total guarantees in the league at the quarterback position. Deshaun Watson, as you guys know, it's 100% guaranteed. His whole contract was guaranteed. And you will never see another contract like that again, to the best of my knowledge, because it absolutely pissed every other owner not named Haslam off in the league. Okay. Next is Joe Burrow at $219 million. Okay. Deshaun Watson's $230 million. Joe Burrow, $219 million. Justin Herbert, $218 million. Trevor Lawrence, one of the more recent ones we'll look at here, $200 million. And then Lamar Jackson, $185 million. Okay. So let's go to Joe Burrow. Well, first of all, think about that. Look at Joe Burrow's number right there, $219 million. Now let's show the guarantee at signing. So the guarantee he got when he signed the contract the day of, it drops all the way down to 146. So that's the real number that you're talking about here. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It goes from 219 to 146. I'm not saying that they won't guarantee Joe Burrow that 219, but there are stipulations in the contract and in the form of option bonuses for Joe Burrow that would, you guys remember, Jacob, you probably remember this. You were listening to the pod back then. Emilio may have been as well. Remember all the Aaron Rodgers arguing with his $50 million a year contract? Remember all that? And I was talking about how, who was it? Andrew Brandt had his agent, had Russell Wilson's agent on his pod with him. And they said no one, there's only two people that know, two entities that know exactly how that contract is structured. That's Aaron Rodgers and that's the Green Bay Packers. That's the only two that know what's in line there, because there was optional aspects to that contract. Lo and behold, we end up trading them after signing them to a 3-year, $150 million deal, and we were only on the hook for $41 million. How's that work if it was fully guaranteed? So it wasn't truly a $50 million a year contract. You see what I'm saying? So I just wanted to kind of lay that out there. Now, the guaranteed at signing, that's what I think the source was referring to me with, was when he said all actual guaranteed money is a new all-time high. Now, immediately somebody came at me and said, there's no way that they're going to fully guarantee this contract like Deshaun Watson here with the guarantee at signing. No, they're not. You might as well, that Deshaun Watson contract might as well be a Sasquatch. Okay. The rest of the owners and the player representative, they pretend like it doesn't even exist. It's not even on the bargaining table when people go to sign new contracts. You notice that with the quarterbacks, no one else has gotten nowhere near that, because the Haslams screwed the pooch. The Haslams are billionaires, and they say, you know what, here, take $230 million. We want you to come over here, right? And then he gets hurt. Karma's a bee, ain't it? You know.
That's how I was looking at it. I pulled up just the quarterback contracts over the cap, so they have the column split total guarantee and then fully guaranteed, where Joe Burrow's his total guarantee is 219, fully guaranteed is the 146.
There it is.
Yep.
Right. So fully guaranteed at signing. So what I'm thinking, if this source that I talked to today was not BSing me. What I think the contract is going to be is a 4-year deal, and it's going to exceed Joe Burrow's $146.5 million at signing. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, if it's less than that, that's awesome news. But it seems like that's kind of worst case scenario. So, many people would get caught up in the average annual and all that. What really truly matters, if we are concerned, and I think we would all agree, the only concern with Jordan is half a year like booty cheeks, a half a year that was arguably the best quarterback in the league. So the less guaranteed money you got, the less risk you have if you get 2 years down the road and you go, all right, he isn't the guy you can cut bait and kind of free up money, right? So let's go to the Joe Burrow contract here. When you look at Joe Burrow, and this is what I mean, again, think about the total guarantee, 219, guarantee at signing, 146. Now look at Joe Burrow's cap hit, the column I've got highlighted, and look at the dead cap all the way over to the far right, okay? Notice how you don't get in the positive amongst dead cap and regular cap hit until 2027. So in 2027, let's just start with 2026. Cap hit's $48.2 million. Dead cap is $49 million. So it's kind of a push. You're probably going to have him on the roster there, unless he's being a headache and you just want to push him out for some reason. In 2027, his cap hit is 52.2. Well, look at his dead cap. It's $28 million. You can clear up significant cap room there, right? Look at the option proration. Remember me just talking about there's probably optional aspects to Joe Burrow's contract? Mm-hmm. Look at the option column. $11 million in 2024, $13 million in 25, $15 million in 26, $17 million in 27. So once they get to 2027, really 2026, they can be done with it. It's kind of a wash at that point. It makes sense to keep them on the roster at 26. At 27, they're going to free up money, though.
Sorry, is that kind of fair to say that that's kind of what I've been pounding the table for, is more of like incentive-based contracts that have this, if you really are balling out, then yeah, we're going to pay you the tippy top. But if not, we have a way to kind of sneak away from giving you that absolute crazy cap hit every year.
Yep. And I'm going to explain to you here in a second through Trevor Lawrence's contract details how they get out of that. Because when people hear incentives, Jacob, they think 4,000 yards passing, so many, right. and that does exist in the NFL. But in this regard, you're spot on. You can get out of it if you're not happy with the performance. Essentially, it's a incentive-based contract because you can get out from under it. Now let's go to Trevor Lawrence here again. If we go back to the list, Trevor Lawrence total guarantee was $200 million. People seen that and freaked out, right? Trevor Lawrence guaranteed at signing $142 million, so $4 million less than Joe Burrow. Okay. Now when we pull his contract up, notice how his cap hit is structured. 25 at $17 million. Look at the dead cap, $133 million. So he's going to be on the roster there, right? So once they get to 2028, it's $47 million is the cap hit, but look at the dead cap attached, only $7.5 million. So you can get out of it right there and free up $40 million. So you could see how there's literally 1, 2, 3 years that's not real years on the deal. They're real from a team option standpoint, but not from the player standpoint, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why it's important to kind of understand. Now let's talk about the contract notes real quick with Trevor Lawrence. Check this out. $142 million guaranteed at signing. It's signing bonus plus the 2024 salary, 2025 salary / option bonus, plus the 26 salary / option bonus, plus the $29 million of 2027 compensation. All right. Next bullet point. Additional $12 million of 2027 salary fully guarantees March 2026. Injury guarantee at the signing. So he's covered for injury that year through 26 and 27. You see the same thing on the line below. Now rewind. Remember Russell Wilson got the huge contract in Denver and everybody's like, oh, they're married to him. And all of a sudden they got out from under it. Do you remember the reason that they decided to move on from him was because he wouldn't waive that injury guarantee? Remember that? So they just decided to move on. Why? Because he's no longer on the roster. Therefore, they're not due that money. All the money that they were already due that already been paid to them accelerates to the current year. You eat that cap hit and you move on. You wash your hands. So with Trevor Lawrence, notice here, once you get past the, let's see, it says $46 million 2028 compensation fully guarantees in March 2027. So you're seeing where the guarantees are flying in there. If he's cut before then, guess what? It's not guaranteed. That's the difference between guaranteed at signing and practical guarantees. That's what the article is trying to explain there. And again, that article is 2 years old, but they seen this coming down the pike early and started reporting on it. 2025 option bonus, $35 million guaranteed technically. 2026 option bonus, $35 million guaranteed technically, right? 2027 option bonus, $35 million, $29 million guaranteed at signing, fully guarantees in March of 2026. So you can kind of see how that goes. Now, he did get a full no trade clause. So obviously he would have to waive that no trade clause in order for them to move on, other than just to cut him outright. And the reason players put that in place is because they want to be able to hit the market openly, as opposed to you controlling the 3 or 4 teams you may or may not go to. So does all that make sense? It's a lot of information to cover in 20 minutes that we've been on the air here. We really did in 15. Any questions, comments? Am I missing anything there, Phils?
That's a lot. That's a lot of numbers.
I don't think so, Clayton. I like it. I like looking at it as the fully guaranteed, and Joe Burrow being at the top of the list. Even on over the cap, they have Deshaun, down there by Kyler Murray, with his 103 fully guaranteed. So it's like, I think they were it's that outlier that's just throwing off the whole graph, right? So
yeah, I think too, it's smart that you talked about the fact that there's no reason at all, even if they had the deal done and it's ready to go. Like, if anything, they should wait. They would have to wait 3 or 4 days just to give Tua that amount of time. I mean, just on a business aspect, their social media wise, like, they want to squeeze every juice out of that lemon that they can. And then what can they do? They can actually double up and do it again with Jordan Love the next week and extend that whole, it just makes them more and more money, gives them more and more fame and, media. Yeah. So it makes sense. I hope that's right, dude. That'd be so cool.
Right. Athletes First is being talked about for 3 weeks straight. They did the right job. Right.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep. So that, again, that could have been absolute BS that I got fed today. We're going to find out.
So you think like 150?
What's that?
You think like 150 fully guaranteed, and then we'll go from there?
3 points is what they told. Let me pull it back up again here just for quick reference, because I don't want to misquote it here. So the 3 points, and I didn't list the third, which is really off the top, was the deal was pretty much done, is what they said.
Right.
Okay. The other was it's a 4-year deal. So we're going to know if that was BS source or not, right? Number 2, actual guaranteed money is an all-time high, which means it would exceed that $146 million of Joe Burrow. Okay. I think the reason I wanted to lay all that out is because I think that's what he meant. He didn't mean total guarantee, that BS number they threw out there. He meant total guarantee at signing. You know what I mean? Sometimes they'll say full guarantee at signing. Sometimes they'll say fully guaranteed. Yep. That's that number they're talking about actually is guaranteed. But when they just say guarantee or total guarantee, that's where you go, okay, the BS.
Well, that would make me think he's fully guaranteed around 150 million, and his total value is probably at 300.
Yeah. Now check it out. Think about it this way too. There was another thing I was wanting to hit on if I could find it. I think it was on another site I was wanting to share. Let me see if I can get this pulled up real quick. And then we'll get on to some training camp news, guys. Just wanted to hit on it because this contract's about to drop any second, and we wanted to make sure we're kind of covering every angle of it. Not to say, hey, look, we had it here first or whatever. That's not even the good. I could give 2 craps. I want to understand stuff as we go. You know what I'm saying? Not just go, okay, just fall in the crowd. Well, that's what it is. I want to understand how it all came about. I want to look at the average annual here. This is amongst the top quarterbacks here. Right there. Trevor Lawrence is number 1 at $55 million. Isn't it funny? He was one of the lower numbers when it came to the actual guaranteed money. See how it works? You're kind of trading the cash over cap game. You pay more cash up front, more guaranteed money up front, you're going to be able to free up more cap room, lowering the cap number, as opposed to less guaranteed money, because the agency is going to fight, okay, if there's only so much guaranteed money we can get, that's top priority 1 for the agency. The second number would be that average annual, because that's what they like to tote around and gloat about, right? So Trevor Lawrence, number 1 at $55 million. Joe Burrow, number 2 at $55 million. Tua Tagovailoa at $53 million per year on average, right? And then when you look at his guarantee at signing, what did it end up being again? What was it? He didn't even make the list. That's how low
was it?
Tua. So let me click on Tua real quick here. It may kick it off the screen. If it does, that's all right. I want to see. They still don't have all the details here. So, yeah, see, we don't have the actual bonus yet. Or did we have it in that report earlier? We did, right? Let's see.
I thought it did, yeah.
Yeah, 167.
Yeah.
So it's 167 is the no, that's the guarantee. That's right. That's not the.
Is that the total? That's the total guaranteed, not the fully. Okay, because 167 total would put him around Jared Goff and Kyler Murray, kind of in between that bubble.
And what's their guarantee at signing? Do you have that, Emilio?
So for Jared Goff, fully guaranteed at signing was 113, and then for Kyler Murray, he was 103.
So what you're probably looking at is somewhere between 110 and 120 guaranteed at signing for Tua would be my guess. Could be off there, but again, you see that 167 million guaranteed, and you go, oh crap, Jordan Love's going to get.
Yeah,
total guarantee.
Start at the top with 212 for the extension, then come in at the total guarantee of 167, then drop it down to what you're actually going to get.
Bingo. So what you're probably going to get here, if the source I spoke to earlier, if they were correct, what you're probably going to get with Jordan Love is a 4-year contract that's going to be over 150 million guarantee, probably somewhere around 148, maybe 150, right? And if it's a 4-year deal, and there's only 150 million guaranteed at signing, then that means you'll be able to get out of that 4th year probably saving. Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where you're sitting with it. So I was hoping it'd be a long-term. I'm hoping this is wrong. I'm hoping I got the wool pulled over my eyes, because I really want this to be like a 6 to 8 year deal where we can really have some maneuverability. But you know how Goody is. Goody and Russ Ball, they're like, hey, look, we want them on the roster. And if it don't work out, we want to be able to cut bait. If you got a long-term deal, there's a lot more penalty that comes with that, as opposed to like Patrick Mahomes. They signed him to that 10-year deal. They knew they wasn't cutting him, right? Mm-hmm. There was no chance he wasn't going to work out. He'd already proven himself. So Jordan's a little bit different story there. So anyway, just wanted to hit on that because that article I thought would kind of clear things up for some folks. I know it helped me a lot, but that would be my best guess is, 4 years, somewhere around 150 million guaranteed at signing. And I don't know what the total guarantee will add up to be. It really doesn't matter because it's not really guaranteed. If that makes sense. So anything else you guys want to hit on as far as the contract stuff? We'll get into.
I think real quick, I think that they could still say that I still think that they could max the total guarantee of Deshaun's of 230 and still probably fully guarantee that 150 at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So like if Joe Burrow's total value of 275, total guaranteed 219, fully guaranteed 146. Say we got Jordan Love at a total value of around 300. His total guarantee is 232, just over Deshaun's total guaranteed. And then his fully guaranteed is still even higher than Burrow's, but not the fully guaranteed of the 230 of Deshaun.
Yeah. And that would be ultimate gloating rights, I believe, because if you go to the average annual, check this out. If you did that, if you said you matched, all right, Deshaun Watson's total guarantee, which we know isn't actual, it's practical guarantee, right?
Right.
If you match that on a 4-year deal, guess what your average annual comes out to? $57.5 million. Look right here. That would make him the highest paid quarterback in the league.
Man, he'd hit the trifecta if he's got the average, the total, and the fully. The only thing, that's everything.
Makes sense. And that would be why they would hold it back today. Let Tua get his shine.
Right.
And what they're going to hear is athletes first got Tua paid. You already see it in the comment. People are going, Tua? Really? Really, Tua? Let me do this.
Yeah, they got that done before Jordan Love? Come on now. Like,
it's really hot. Tua. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, that makes sense. You get that done. Then the very next day, bang, contract hits. And it could be wrong. Might not happen. But if it does, boom, Jordan Love, 4 years, 230 million, 150 million at signing. Jordan Love puts the pads on, runs out to practice. Makes sense, right? Well, just look up in 2 weeks and we're still no Jordan Love.
Don't say that.
That's the beautiful thing about
we thought we cracked the code on this episode.
Right. One completely swing and miss, right? And listen, if it happens, it happens. We just get on here and talk ball. You know what I mean? Just trying to put stuff together. Put stuff together for the fine folks and laugh at ourselves when we get it wrong. But that's what I love about contracts, though, because like there's so many layers to it, man. And just if anybody has any kind of interest in business, the NFL is the perfect sport for you, man. There's no doubt about it. So let's see here what Jake says. Jake said, Jake Shavink in the house says, Tua Tagovailoa is such an interesting case. One of the best in EPA per play last 2 seasons. Great distributor, fits the offense, anticipatory thrower. Good touch, post-snap processing, etc. Jake, I'm one of the guys, I actually said this on with Rob. If Rob is still in there, he can attest to this. I was one of the guys that people were slandering to, and I was going, I think Tua's a great quarterback. Mm-hmm. That he does exactly what they ask him to do, you know.
Right.
Jake went on to say, but as teams adjust, Tagovailoa and Miami adjusting on the fly. Cold weather has affected him. Off-script stuff isn't always there. and there are bad crunch time interceptions. If the play breaks down, and that's where you get into like the big money. Joe Burrow can make something happen when the play breaks down when he's healthy, right? And he's not the most mobile quarterback. Lamar Jackson, we know he can make stuff happen when the play breaks down. Off script is what they say, right? Jordan Love proved he can do that last year. That's why it makes sense that he's going to get paid banks. So, yeah. There you go. All right. Appreciate it, Jake. Thanks for commenting, buddy. Let's move on to training camp. You guys good with that?
Yeah.
All right. So, first things first, we were talking Love right off the bat. I thought this was cool. You can check out the video. Jory, I hope I'm saying that right. Jory or Yori Epstein said, Jordan Love coaching Packers rookie quarterback Michael Pratt on technique. Michael told me Jordan's helped his film study too. Quote, he'll be like, hey, Mike, who's the O-line guy? Who are they working to? What's the protection? Jordan has done a great job asking me tough questions. Does that not sound like exactly the same thing that Aaron Rodgers was doing for Jordan? It's pretty cool, man. Pretty damn cool. And Jordan out there, again, there's some people that are just clinging to this. He's holding out. He's holding out. Dude ain't holding out. He's literally teaching the backup. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about here? So I thought that was pretty cool that he that popped up on it. Let's see. This question came across the wire too. This came on Twitter from one of our listeners. Says, way too early in-camp question, but maybe a discussion for tonight's show. If Clifford and Pratt continue to struggle badly, when do you consider potentially bringing in a Tannehill type vet in, especially if you think you have a Super Bowl caliber team? I want to ask you guys that question. Me personally, I'm not interested in tying up any cap in an overpriced backup. That's just me personally. I like the blueprint that the Packers have followed for multiple decades now, where it's virtually a minimum contract for the backup quarterback. How do you guys feel about that, though, Jacob? This kind of feels like it's down your pike, but I may be wrong. Man. Would you rather have like a more proven veteran as a backup and eat up, say, $8 to $10 million in cap, or would you rather just have a couple of young quarterbacks that most likely won't be able to perform up to par?
Well, I kind of and I don't mean to be at all kind of like snippy or anything, because I love Paul, but I just reject the premise because I don't think that both between the two of them at least won't be sufficeable, I guess, if we really get into that position. And that's a big if. And then I'll actually go and I'll agree with Paul. Like, if the situation was different, I would rather have at least one veteran, like a Darnold type or something like that, a guy that's had snaps, that knows what the systems are, has been through many different kind of, LaFleur, I'm sure, would like to have a guy like that, because wasn't LaFleur coaching Tannehill and those types, that being said, I really do think that Pratt and Clifford have the ability to start and do good things in this league. It might be a little rough and shaky. It'd probably be like, how Jordan Love in the first half of the season would be. So I don't think that I would. You guys know me. I'm cheap. I'm super cheap. So I don't want to pay any old man, unless it was Ryan Fitzpatrick. If Ryan Fitzpatrick decides to come back with that chest hair and that beard and the chains, then I will pay that man. I'll pay him a good $6-7 mil, or Flacco. I guess I do Flacco too.
Hey, he's good on the Thursday Night Prime stuff too. I really enjoy him, man. He's got a good personality.
No, but in all honesty, I'm comfortable with the two rookies. I really am. Oh, not rookies, but you know what I'm saying, young guys.
Yeah. What do you think, Emilio?
I'm not going to. So quit asking.
All right, there you go. We're gonna move along here.
But no, yeah, it's just let Jordan figure out the contract, and let's teach the young guys, because if that's the case, bring back Magoo. I don't know. I'm like Jacob said, we're cheap, so I'd rather not drop the cash on it if everyone says we're cash strapped.
The way I see it too is like, let me ask you this: what's the goal? What's the goal this year? Win a Super Bowl. Right. So if Jordan Love goes down, is Tannehill going to be able to take you to the Super Bowl?
No, I think Sean Clifford sitting behind Jordan Love for at least a year and a little bit more, and going through these mistakes in offseason and stuff is going to help you a little bit more than bringing in Tannehill, slamming him, a book and say, learn in a week and a half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point too. For me, and Paul, don't take me the wrong way, man. Appreciate the question. I don't think it's a stupid question.
Right. Yeah.
No, not at all. That's a good question. I don't want to think about it. How about that? Don't make me do that.
Don't make me do that. So, yeah, I think I'd rather just kind of keep it the way it is, let Pratt and Clifford battle it out that way. Because here's the thing, like, whatever money you would spend on a Tannehill or a quarterback like him, that's money that you could have been able to roll over in next year, right? And if it was someone on the streets that you go, hey, look, that dude can take us to the Super Bowl if Jordan goes down in a pinch, I'm all about it. I just don't think that guy exists.
Do you think that there's any logic, or is it a complete conspiracy corner thought that Goody knew going into the draft he might have some hiccups with Jordan trying to get his contract situated? So he's like, I better get a guy like Pratt in here and maybe have anything to do with why he brought Clifford in, and know that, like, I got to get an established pipeline of quarterbacks, because if it comes to the situation where, one, if Love's not the guy, we at least have another guy that's in the hopper. Two, if he is the guy, we have a buffer zone where if we need to negotiate this contract, that we have some leeway.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I don't think it was so much that as it was they had a decent grade on Pratt, and they seen him in the 7th round, so we can't pass up on it. You know what I mean?
I don't think Terminator read the numbers.
No, he sat there and said, best time to take quarterbacks when you don't need one.
Yeah, Bingo. That's true.
Bingo. And that's the thing too. Like, there are some teams that have a rule in place that to take a quarterback every year, just to take that swing, especially in the later rounds. What do you got to lose? You stash them on the practice squad, you lose 2 years off their contract if you have to stash a rookie on the practice squad. That's all you lose. And there's really no guaranteed money, no significant guaranteed money attached to the late round picks. So I understand what you're saying, though, Jacob. I mean, it's just I think it's more along the lines of, yeah, that was the best player on the board and at a premier position. You know?
Plus, Pratt was supposed to be like in some ways a second rounder, right? And he fell all the way down. So I guess, that's a bargain bin.
Mm-hmm. What I like to do when the college football season kicks off, as you guys know, when we do our college football podcast occasionally, I like to go in and go, all right, what's the consensus bid board look like right now? Let me focus on those rookies this year in college football, right? The soon-to-be rookies. Last year, I remember Pratt, he was like mid to early 2nd round was where he was starting the season at. And there were some people saying it's the 1st-round talent. And then, I mean, he plummeted all the way to the 7th round. Now, there was some injury stuff, if I remember correctly. But nonetheless, man, obviously Goody's seen some value there in the 7th round. So I personally have more faith in Michael Pratt than I do Sean Clifford based off of the traits. And it's not that I'm one of these big traits guys. It's just I know the Packers are. And I know every other GM in the league, they value those traits over can this guy perform right now, right? More of the higher end potential. So let's move on to the defensive side of the ball here at camp today. Paul Brettel tweeted out, safety rotation continues today. It's Anthony Johnson Jr. who gets initial snaps next to McKinney. So they are following through with that safety competition of Javon Bullard, Evan Williams, and Anthony Johnson Jr., while Katano Ladapo is still injured with that toe. He also went on to say nickel linebackers the same, Walker and McDuffie. You guys remember, I think it was day 1 or day 2, Edgerrin Cooper was the starting nickel backer alongside Quay Walker. Now you've got McDuffie starting there, okay? And it doesn't mean that Edgerrin Cooper has lost his spot. They're just trying all these different combinations right now early in camp. Of course, the pads are going to come on tomorrow. They may get a little more zeroed in. Okay, let's get these guys the first-team reps. But he also Paul Brettel went on to say some nice blocking reps from Tyler Davis. That was for you right there, Jacob. Tyler Davis starting to flash, bro.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that. So anything you guys want to add to the safety talk there? Actually, let me add this in here too. Wes Hodkiewicz tweeted out, Xavier McKinney picks off Clifford in the red zone off a pass intended for Sims at the goal line. So X showed up today with an interception. One thing I feel really comfortable about is Xavier McKinney's going to be a stud, man. He's going to be one of those dudes that just has the highest floor amongst anybody on the defensive side of the ball.
Absolutely. I cannot wait for our defense to take off. I really can't. So X teaching anyone, AJJ, Javon, Evan Williams, Home Depot when he gets out there, I can't wait.
I watched an interview with Cooper today, and he was talking about how it just feels he didn't say like easy or anything, but he said just with Preston and Gary being able to set the edge and do the stuff there, not even set the edge, but just watching him kind of blast off the edge. Mm-hmm. He says it makes his job so much easier to know that like that baseline front is just right. I like you talked about, like I don't know if I got to pump the brakes because every year we do this, we talk about the defense and blah blah blah, and Jordan Love's not there. I understand that, but between the rotation, like when's the last time we were really confident in like the 4 or 5 guys just at our D tackles? You know what I mean? Let alone the fact that we've got 4 or 5 guys at the rotation on the edge or D end, whatever you want to call them now, and the fact that we have We haven't even talked about guys like Hopper. Like, I wonder where he's at, what his progression will be like, if he's more of that special teams type guy. And I mean, like you talked about the secondary too. Like, I don't know, dude. It really is make us all seem a little bit stupid on draft night when we're sitting here thumping the table, being like, we didn't take a cornerback in the first round or the second round.
Exactly.
Like now we're like, oh wow, okay.
I don't remember anybody doing that on draft night, but I damn sure remember us mocking so many corners
every time.
Off season.
But no, I mean, I am excited about that, Jacob. How much is those front four keeping the linebackers clean going to change? You know, how well are they going to be able to keep them clean and let them, you know, fast flow to the ball?
Did you guys by chance listen to that segment of the podcast I sent this morning from The Athletic?
I did not. I didn't.
They were talking about second-year players they're most excited on defense, and one of the guys name dropped Carl Brooks, and then they went on, and the whole way that it's like a 5-minute blurb or whatever in between the podcast, but he goes, with all the players that we could have picked from the Green Bay Packers defense, we decided to go with Carl Brooks, and they name dropped this. So we could have went with LVN, could have went with Devontae Wyatt, because they said you're the second or third year players. They said we could have went with Quay Walker, but we think that Carl Brooks, who is a rotational, 6th-round draft pick that didn't get invited to the combine, like it was just, they were kind of saying this dude is legit. Like he could make a big difference.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like did you listen to the GM Shuffle earlier today, Emilio?
Yeah,
okay, so one of the things that they talked about on there was being able to model your roster. And I know you guys have heard me say over and over, you probably got tired of hearing me say it, that's a position of tier 1 of importance, right? Or tier 2 of importance. Tier 1 on offense, quarterback, obviously, left tackle. On defense, defensive tackle, and edge defender. Those are the 4 most important positions on the entire football field. Okay. So when you talk about modeling out your roster, your top priority should be that 3 tech. You need to have one absolute you want all 11 of your players on both sides of the ball to be studs, don't get me wrong, but you want to have that stud spotted at the defensive tackle position. So they just re-signed Kenny Clark, and we talked about it's a 3-year extension, but it's really a 2. They can get out of it after 2, right? Well, when you look at this defensive tackle room, that gives them a couple of years to see, is Devontae Wyatt the real deal? That gives them 3 years or 2 years while Kenny's on the contract to see if Carl Brooks is that guy, right? So those are the 2 that are most likely they're kind of peeping at, like, hey, look, let's see if we can get a flash at him. If Devontae Wyatt just takes off and he lives up to that first-round talent, here in 2 years, if Kenny's play is tapering, guess what you do? You cut ties, you free up that money. Now Devontae Wyatt becomes that piece in your roster. So when you extend Kenny, although you guys know I've been very vocal, I don't think Kenny has performed up to par. What you did was set an extremely high floor there while you figure out, is Devontae Wyatt or Carl Brooks your 3 tech of the future, right? So that's kind of how, when you talk about that modeling, that's what you're seeing there, in my opinion. But I'm glad you brought that up, because I got a lot of faith in Carl Brooks. Carl Brooks and Dontavian Wicks are my 2, like, that's the ones I've got the crosshairs on right now. I think they're going to be studs. I really do. So
28, 23, 22, 23, 22, 25, 23, 24.
I'm still going to throw some up. I do think Slayton, too, could have a really big impact in this defense. And the dude's still 23. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. And when you look at Devontae Wyatt's contract, he's in 24. So keep in mind, next year, you've got to make a decision on Devontae Wyatt. Okay. So let's say that Devontae Wyatt does prove this year, all right, that's our 3 tech of the future. You extend him, you still get 2 more years with Carl Brooks' contract, and you've got an exit strategy, I should say, with Kenny Clark if he hits the wall. If he continues to play well, great. By the time that's one of those situations where when you get into the last year of Kenny's contract, if he's playing good, right? If we take a peek at his contract one more time here, if you get into the last year of his contract, you decide, okay, you extended Devontae Wyatt, but you want to keep Kenny through the 2027 season. Look at that base salary of 18.3. Guess what you can do? Convert that to signing bonus. Yep. So now you can take that $27 million cap hit, which they probably got plans to do this in 26 anyway with a $31 million cap hit, convert some of that base salary into signing bonus and be able to, or that roster bonus, you could even convert it into signing bonus and then spread it out over the duration of the contract, tack on avoidable year if you want to, and make that a little more palatable so you can extend Devontae Wyatt. And then the next year, the books are wiped clean with a little bit of void penalty on Kenny, and you're moving right on down the line with the arguably the most important piece of that model of your team on defense. So just important to understand how like the contracts, like Lombardi was saying today, nothing is just, well, let's just try this. Actually, some teams operate like that. Have you guys watched the New York Giants Hard Knocks yet? Bro, it's Emilio. Is it not like?
Yeah, it's all over the place, man.
Hearing the McAfee show describe how it is and how John Mara walks in there all the time. The owner walks in, and Pat's like, he looks like nervous Ray. You could tell on his face everything is like, I don't think we should do this. And he walks back out of the room every time. But you can tell, like Lombardi was saying today, there's no model in place. It's like there's no vision of and what I mean by model is like, where the most important pieces need to be. If you don't have that, then your top priority should be to put those in place, right? Coach Lynn says it's cringe. I feel so bad for if Mara wasn't a billionaire. Did he get you, Jacob?
Yep.
A-Fam got you. Look at Emilio face palm.
Oh, man.
It happens to the best of us. All right, so next thing. This is pretty cool. We were talking about slot corner all year, right? And now, who at the cornerback position, who do you guys think I was most excited about coming in this offseason? Ballantyne. Check this out. So, Paul Brittle tweets out, looks like Caleb Jones, Corey Ballantyne, and Donovan Jennings back on the practice field. Ballantyne back in the slot with the second defense, just as he was during offseason programs. So they may be trying to work Ballantyne in as the backup slot defender behind Keyshawn Nixon. You know how we said if something happens to Keyshawn, maybe Javon Bullard slides in and plays slot? Sounds like they want to keep Bull at the safety position and maybe have Ballantyne be that true backup. But another thing, too, I didn't grab the screen grab, but someone said that Jeff Hafley had the nickel corners working separately from the outside corners. Did you hear that, Jacob?
Yep, that's true.
Yeah. So it sounds like they've got separate drills and really keying in on that physical tool set of what it takes to be a slot corner or nickel corner, whatever you want to call it. It's not.
They've also had King over there too, which is kind of cool.
Ooh, let's go, dude. I keep forgetting about Kalen King, man. And like that dude, I was probably more excited about him than anyone else in the draft that we took, man. Other than Bullard. You sold me on Bullard, Jake. So offensive line today. Paul Brettel tweeted out, Myers out for personal reasons. I think Jacob hurt his feelings. So Jenkins at center in warm-ups. So the one common thread that we're seeing all through camp, when Myers isn't in there, they're putting Jenkins at center, are they not?
Yep. So
it sounds like Elton Jenkins. Now, I think back to earlier in the year when I think it was Mark Tauscher that said on Wildy and Tausch that he was told the center of the future is already in the building. Now, immediately people thought that's Tom, right? Or maybe that's going to be Monk where they drafted him. Sounds, at least the actions speak louder than words. Sound like Elton Jenkins is the guy that they want to put at center more than anyone when Myers is out. So the lineup today starting, you had Rasheed Walker at left tackle, Sean Ryan once again at left guard, Elton Jenkins kicked over to center, Jordan Morgan once again at right guard, and then Zach Tom at right tackle with Telford rotated in. So what's really sticking out here with the offensive line, and it's early, is when Jenkins kicks the center, Sean Ryan is your backup left guard. And then Jordan Morgan, it seems like Jordan Morgan might end up being our right guard. How do you guys feel about that lineup right there? Jacob, you go first, sir.
At first, it kind of shocked me a little bit just to think that they have that much trust in Ryan. But, I mean, I keep forgetting that he is now a veteran, and hopefully he's stepped up, and we saw a little bit of progress last year. I'm more encouraged with the fact that it sounded like Larry McCarron even said that Jordan Morgan looked a little more the part today. He said he did not look like a rookie in that right guard position and kind of was absorbing the moment and was playing fast. And again, we'll see tomorrow. I think will be a bigger testament. All the stuff that we've been hearing, like I've been worried, I'll admit it, but once the pads come on, I think that's way more of an indicator. We've talked about it all week, so yeah. I'm excited. Mm-hmm. And I'm cool with the fact that Telford's rotating in too. I think that he is maybe that swing tackle that we're not giving more credit to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I like that. Like we said, I'm totally fine. I'd like to get Morgan out there off the jump if we can. Jenkins, I think, has the fortitude and the brains for center, and I'm totally fine with Tom and Walker holding off the edges. So those guards, we can kind of rotate them, and I think that's where we should be more worried about. I'd rather have a 2 edges solid and the center solid, and then we can rotate the guards. But I'm totally fine with that.
Got it. All right. Let's go to the chat here real quick. Coach Lynn says, I wonder why Morgan is at right guard instead of left guard. And then he went on to say, doesn't Morgan play on the left side in college mostly?
Yeah, he had 3 seasons specifically at left tackle.
Yeah, he's definitely more of a –
But if he's that much of an athlete and that excellent at tackle position, it'd be like Jenkins and Tom where we'd rotate them all around anyway. So wouldn't we want him to be able to play right guard?
Right. Yeah. And the big thing there to me, too, is I think what it suggests is they want to get Jordan Morgan every opportunity to be in the starting lineup. And as it sits right now, Josh Myers, your center, Elton Jenkins, your left guard. What it tells me more than anything, Jordan Morgan is higher on the depth chart than Sean Ryan. And that makes me sleep well at night because I was worried they were going to go, we got to let him sit for a year. No, get him out there, man. Let's get him acclimated, right? So, but the offensive line talk is always really, really intriguing to me during camp for sure. Ron Samble in the chat said, King with that chip on his shoulder at slot sounds good to me. That is, you got to kind of have that edge, right, to be able to play that slot position. Jake Shavink says King in the slot is interesting. It really is, man. And I don't know, Jake, you probably know more than me. You probably watch more Kalen King college tape than I have. Do you feel like, and you can answer if you want to, I'll try to catch it in here before we wrap up or at the 51-minute mark. Do you feel like Kalen King's physical tools, his traits, does it fit the slot position? Or is he more of just an outside corner? Because based off what I've heard about him, he's just kind of a good, well-rounded corner that had a horrible year last year. The year before, he was absolutely dominant. So let's see here. Omer in the chat says Walker, Jenkins, Golden Boy, Morgan, Tom starting O-line this year. I think by Golden Boy, he's being sarcastic talking about Josh Myers because Josh Myers is can't lose his job. But anyway, there you go. All right, let's see what else we got in here in the updates. All right, so this is the last one. Anders Carlson, this is according to Paul Brettel, 5 of 6 today. Greg Joseph went 6 for 6. Both are 11 for 12 overall in camp. Hey, that's a pretty good showing from Anders, 11 for 12. You guys remember last camp? Didn't he suck in last year's camp? Am I thinking right? He was missing kicks like crazy.
Yeah, there were signs. There were definitely signs. And also that the one that Anders missed was just barely wide right or wide left, whatever it was. So, and Joseph, I guess too, man. Joseph has earned a spot on hopefully not our squad, but at least somebody's squad.
Let's see here. Jake Shavink commented about Kalen King. He says, so much of King's good play is centered around initiating contact early. If he's going to do that, whether it be on the perimeter or in the slot, then it can work. That makes sense. And especially what a lot of teams like to do to the Packers is they like to put, even if it's a close split, they like to put the slot corner on the line of scrimmage and have that Z or the X play off, right? When that happens, typically the nickel in our old defenses, really defenses across the league, that nickel will come up and play press, and then the other guy will kind of – and they may switch. It may be a false press. It may be just a jam at the line, and then you take the inside release, I'll take the outside release. We'll turn it into match coverage. It may be something like that. But
right.
That's good to hear there. I mean, that's really what you need, right, for the slot.
He's saying he's a breakfast corner. And I love that. That's perfect. We need somebody in the slot, like you said. That if Keyshawn can be that, that's perfect. If King can get to that point and then grow up to be a 4-down player, perfect. But if he's only in the slot for now in special teams, we'll take it, man.
Yeah. Jake went on to say if they're asking for more soft press / read react off the line, it's going to be difficult. So he is more of an aggressive corner. So yeah, he kind of sounds like he would fit slot, really does.
Yeah, and if Hafley simplifies it, right, you only have so many options to go after you funnel them this direction, that direction.
Mm-hmm. And, so one other note here. Wes Haka was tweeted out yesterday to get into the best shape of his life at 245 pounds with 5% body fat. A.J. Dillon cut carbs, ran steps at Lambeau Field, got a Whoop band to track his sleep, and also played college football 25 while riding. Oh, that was me, actually. So, in the process, the Packers running back found the peace and clarity he's been seeking. This has kind of really dominated the headlines the last 2 days. A.J. Dillon looking cut, boys.
Right.
He went from I read a report today that it was 4% body fat. So it gets lower every day.
That's why they had to get him the new Axiom helmet. I see. He just thinned right out, and he just needs the new look, new AJ, fresh new AJ this year.
Well, we saw the clips of him hitting that bag in the pylon and just you know jacking it up and fully extending and driving it. But there's a couple clips coming out today where he came out of the backfield, did a little juke, and did he's running. I can't remember what route he was running, but man, he stuck it and he grabbed the ball and then he pivoted and juked and then he looked like Aaron Jones. And I was like, but look at how big he is.
Right. I
could not believe it. I was really impressed. Like, I think I even maybe shared it on my Twitter if you want to dig through that crap storm and see if you can find it. But he is really running like twitchy. I think that's what I put is he looks crazy twitchy.
A twitchy but looks like Mike Allstott running.
Yeah, I've never seen that before in his life. It just is crazy.
Yeah, this broke me up. If you want to dig through my Twitter,
be careful. Bite the pillow. It's gonna be
I know every other tweet I read that you put out, it's gonna be
how dare you.
And then I'll read another one. Go, that wasn't it. Oh, here's no.
How dare you?
No, not that one either. Wait a minute. 3 more tweets.
How dare you?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm tired of looking. That's what it would be all night long.
Probably.
I love it. All right. Last thing here. Well, first of all, anything else you guys want to hit on? We're at the 56-minute mark. Mandy's going to run me out of this house here real quick tonight.
No. Yeah.
No, I don't want to get you any more in trouble.
Pads tomorrow. Pads.
Yeah. I thought you said abs tomorrow. I'm like, I ain't doing no crunches. You lost your mind, bro. Ride the bike.
Get on that 4% grind, Clayton.
Oh, not me. I'm on that. He's on that 40 or that 4% grind. I'm on that
65%. 65%. That's what
I'm over here 65% body fat. No shame in my game. I want to give a shout out to Matt Ramage. This was really cool. Said, dude, this tweet said, dude, this is awesome. Shout out to Spencer Young. Spencer N. Young, pumped to be included in this when it's done. I'll share the whole fence. Lots of great peeps on the fence. So you guys know the fence is a tradition in Green Bay across the street from Lambeau Field. They actually added Matt Ramage on the fence. Love some Matty Ramage, dude. He's absolutely – my man looked like he slimmed down a little bit too. Matt been working on that same A.J. Dillon.
I was going to say they're probably training together.
Yeah, there you go. But, yeah, Matt Ramage is a national treasure to all of us Packer fans. Appreciate him. Well deserved. It's just awesome to see him represented, man. We get the coolest damn fan base in all of football, man. We really do. If you ignore the ones that are always seeking attention and stirring up drama, you're all right, right? But of course, we don't have to worry about people getting shots right now, so everybody's good. Nobody's upset at the moment. You know what I mean? So anyway, now camp. Obviously, tomorrow the Pats come on 10:30 a.m. Central Time. Up there at Ray Nitschke Field, there's going to be pads popping, boys. Training camp really kicks off tomorrow. And then we are officially in Family Night week and also Hall of Fame game week. So, excited about it. Thank you for that, Emilio. In the upper right, people have been asking, can't find a link to the Patreon group. It's in the video description, but if this makes it easier, you can scan this QR code in the upper right. That'll send you directly to our Patreon where you can join our group. It's a really cool, just a really cool, I don't know what you would call it. What would you call it? A community, I guess.
Yeah.
It's the quickest way to get in touch with us, the host. We're all in there, and we can respond a little bit quicker. Also, for anyone who joins one of the 3 tiers, we make sure that we put your name on the Larry McCarron Pinky Wheel, spin it, and give away really cool stuff. We're going to be giving away copies of Take Your Eye Off the Ball 2.0 here real soon. Chewy obviously just won the frame photo of Bart Starr, Aaron Rodgers, and Brett Favre together. So we got to get that to Chewy. But we got some other cool pieces of memorabilia. Got an autographed Brett Favre picture that's going to be going out. We've also got some autographed jerseys and stuff we're going to be giving away this year. It's just a way for us to give back for those who support the channel. But we appreciate y'all. Again, you can scan that QR code, and that'll send you directly to our Patreon group. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us. We will be back tomorrow. There's a good chance I'll do a morning show and an evening show tomorrow. Okay, so Jacob, you available in the morning?
I probably can be.
There you go. All right, Jacob may be here in the morning. We'll see. But if everything goes,
I will be sleeping.
Yeah, I love that Emilio's straight up. He's just up front about it. Like, nope, I ain't getting up.
I appreciate y'all. I do. I'm probably going to be catching some Z's.
Understand, man. Completely understood. So we'll be back most likely in the morning, definitely tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Central Time. So appreciate y'all hanging out. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack Go.